What's up? It's Leanne here, and today I have such a special guest. Her name is Christy, and Christy is a prior student of mine. She is an amazing artist in the permanent makeup industry. I am so inspired by her story, Journey to 100 Brows. I mean, this girl, this amazing, beautiful friend of mine has hit her 100 brows and have now actually gone beyond 100 brows. And I'm just so happy and excited to have her here to really share her story with all of you. So, Christy, maybe a quick introduction.
Hi. No, it's an honor to be here, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited just to encourage new permanent makeup artists to just keep going in their journey. And I'm excited that you asked me to share my journey. And I hope that it encourages other people, new artists that want to be in this industry and have a dream and how to pursue that and how different it looks for everybody. So for me,
Absolutely.
it's been really awesome. So I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, well, your story really inspired me because, you know, when taking a training, being new to the permanent makeup industry, and you take a training, you're kind of like, what do I do after this training? I have some students who they just get it and they go on and they're just like charging, doing their thing, and they build the most successful businesses. And then I have students who, are so fearful of failure and they just end up quitting. And then I've got students like yourself who really go through so many ups and downs after training. Um, you know, Before we even get into that, can you share a little bit about maybe prior to you getting into the PMU industry?
Yeah, sure. So before I came to your class, getting into permanent makeup, I'm actually a lash artist, and I had started my own business after having to rebuild my life, and I decided to start doing lashes. I just had the opportunity, and I took it, and it's just blew up. And so I had that going and I was very excited about it. I still do lashes to this day, and I do have a love and a passion for lashes and the community that brings.
Mhm.
But I was looking for something um, more to express myself as an artist and just reaching a little bit further in the beauty industry.
Mhm.
And so I came across permanent makeup, and actually I had found you personally because I had been seeing all my lash clients come in with from different brow artists.
Oh, that's so
And I'll never
funny.
forget, I was kind of shopping
Uh-huh.
on people's faces, people coming in, and I would say,
Shopping
who
on
did
people's
this?
faces.
Yeah, I was like, who did this? Who did this? Who did this? And
I love it.
one of my lash clients, I said, who did this? This looks so beautiful and natural. And she gave me your name, and I literally
Oh.
signed up for a training. So, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's the best. I mean, for me as an artist, like when I hear that, it just really makes me so happy because it's, when someone sees your work, it's healed, it's on somebody
Mhm.
and they're like, "Wow, that's beautiful work." Like that's what I have always aspired to be, that kind of artist. So I usually have three types of students after training. One will just go for it with no fear and they just do their thing, they succeed, build these huge businesses. And then I have some who, are just scared of failure, whatever it is, and they just end up quitting. And then I've got students like you who, will have all these obstacles after training. You have your ups and downs, but you persevere through it. And, you just, yes, you're torn down and come, you, you have all these different obstacles, but you always seem to overcome it. What were some of the most difficult moments during the beginning of your permanent makeup journey?
Okay, that's a really good question. I think that difficult moments were what you've mentioned. I was really scared of failure, scared of ruining someone's face, scared of a big fear was just not being talented enough to
Mhm.
do it. And so when I have an artistic eye. And so when I would go to do a brow and I would not see the result that I
Mhm.
had in my mind, that conflict, that space of conflict of being intimidated, afraid, feeling like it was a personal failure,
Mhm.
very a perfectionist, but like the bad side of it. I struggled mostly with that.
Mhm.
And I don't want to say that I don't struggle with that, but I feel like I've matured through
Mhm.
this process in facing those fears and facing that insecurity. I mean, I have called you crying after a brow many
Yes.
times.
Yes. So I used to get text messages, I get phone calls from Christy just in tears. And you were just, whether it was like while you were driving home after you did a client, and you were so scared. And, as a trainer and as someone who really I wanted to mentor you, and I knew you were gonna go through your ups and downs, but I was like, what can I tell her to like, calm her down, to let her know that it's going to be okay. And I think my whole thing was just let me just listen. Let me
Mhm.
just listen to what you're going through. Just to be there for you and really to share my experiences because I remember going through very similar things. I
Yeah.
had moments where I cried, so just because I went through those different things, I think it just gave me a different kind of understanding, and I just wanted to be there for you. But just knowing what you were going through, oh my gosh, I wanted to cry with you, but I was like, no, Christy, you've got this. Like, you can do this.
I felt like you did a really good job. I mean, what can you really do when someone's sobbing on their way home? But I felt like I almost didn't believe you because you were really good about normalizing what I was going through and that
Uh-huh.
you had felt struggles and
Mhm.
even, sometimes there's brows that you don't like. And I just can't imagine that coming from you because your work is amazing. But you did used to tell me that. And I think at the end of the day, I felt like you did address it in a way where it was like these are the skill levels that this is what you could do to change your outcome, which is really what I needed to hear. On the
Mhm.
emotional side, I kind of had to manage that myself. I could have quit my dream at any time and no one really cares. No one cares because no one's going to love me less. You would have still loved me. And, I think you would have, but you would have still
Of
liked me.
course.
But my family members and people in my life, it's not going to change that. But, it's actually a privilege to pursue our dreams. And even though it
Yeah.
has not felt that way, oh, it has not. I'm going to cry right now. It has not felt that way so many times. Right.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
no, I mean, you always did a good job of just encouraging me and getting me back on track. And I was joking that this could be called I Quit 100 Brows because I would get very dramatic by myself, just being like, I can't do it. And then I had to kind of actually take inventory of what I was telling myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talented enough. You can't do this. Um, and I know that you would speak to that too, of just, you know, taking accountability for how I talk to myself.
Yes. And that's
And
so important. It's like what we tell ourselves, we end up believing that.
mhm,
So instead of saying like, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this. I can't I'm failing at this." Like we've got to get our head space right and
yeah,
just really start thinking more positive. And that's easier said than done, right?
yeah,
Because we've all been at that point where we just doubt everything we do. And
mhm,
when you're new to this industry,
mhm,
I think it's so important to recognize that and to know that, okay, that could happen to me. And
yeah,
that will probably happen to me.
yeah,
And just, making sure that it's like, okay, you get that moment of, okay, I'm doubting myself, but just knowing that I have to overcome this. And I think the biggest thing you want to focus on is, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of know your story, Christy, but I'd love for you to share like your why. Like
Mhm.
what is it that makes you, like, once you have a bad day and
Mhm.
you're just like, I want to quit. I want to throw this machine away, throw all my pigments away. I'm over it. What makes you get up tomorrow and go, I'm going to try again. I'm going
Yeah.
to do this again. As hard as it is, like, why?
I feel like that's a really good question for me to answer because I literally have been that person who has been, I'm done. I'm ending this. I'm not doing this. I give myself permission to quit
Mhm.
so many times. And something that always got me back to practicing. If nothing else, my baseline, I would always start fresh with just practice. And I would
Mhm.
turn on your online course, even though I have trained with you in person.
Mhm.
I love the online course too. I just got to re-look at it and just start fresh. Let's go back to the basics, back to the shaping, and reteach myself just from a practicing point of view.
Mhm.
And I think that something that has always got me back to not saying no to this forever was that I do consider it a privilege. I love the beauty industry. I love women. I believe that we're created last because we are the cherry on top of creation, because we are beautiful and we
Yes.
bring beauty into this world. And I believe and I know, because I've got to meet so many amazing women just doing what I do in this industry, is that um, a woman who feels beautiful and is in love with life and in love with herself is the most powerful thing we have on this earth. And I get to play a part in that.
Yes.
And that's like, oh, that gets me up and gets me going and keeps me creative. And I feel most alive when I'm being creative
Mhm.
and brow art. I get to do art on people's faces. Like, that's insane. That's crazy. That is a gift. And I want to
Absolutely.
be the best artist I can be.
Would
But
you say that that's also part of the reason why you were so hard on yourself? Because
yeah,
what we do is a very, it's permanent. It's permanent makeup.
yeah.
And we take what we do seriously because we're working on someone's face. And it's so important that we work hard every day to become the best artist that we can be. Would you say that because in the back of your head, you knowing that just makes it even that much harder?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
every person, every client, every woman is so important and so valuable. And I take that extremely seriously. And I want them to feel the best that they can. I would never want to alter that. I only want to empower
Mhm.
and add value.
Yeah.
And yes, I think that is why I've taken it so seriously. And I want earnestly to do such a great job. I want
Yep.
to add,
Yep.
not.
And I totally see that in you
Mhm.
because you care so much. You have those moments when you're crying and you're in tears. Like, I knew, like, oh my gosh, this girl really wants it.
Mhm.
She cares so much that every little detail, even though, like, I'm seeing your work, and for me, I'm like, wow, she's new and it looks this beautiful. But still, Christy was like, this is not good enough. It doesn't look exactly like your work. And I do find that a lot of students tend to compare their work on day
Mhm.
one to their instructor who has been doing, permanent makeup for 5, 10 years. They've got so many years on them. And when you're new to the industry, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
One thing I always tell my students is, the only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. And as long
Mhm.
as you're improving and you're getting better and you're putting in the practice, like, just know that you're just going through that journey that all the great instructors had to go through as well. And if you want to get to that point, you want to make sure you're putting in the work and you're putting in the time. And I really
Mhm.
did see that in you.
Mhm.
Even though you had those emotional roller coasters, I felt like, you know, your mindset was still strong enough to get you through those moments. Can you share with us, like, what were some of those key things that really helped you?
Yeah. And this is where, everyone's different, but for me, mindset is really important. And I could see that was weak in a lot of areas. I don't even know what to say, but I could see that I wasn't strong, to keep going, or I just had all those self doubts. So I used to do little things that would kind of trick myself. Like for a while, I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and for a
Mhm.
while, I downloaded every book that a Navy SEAL, like
I
David
love it.
Goggins, You Can't Hurt
Mhm.
Me, Embrace the Suck, like any book that they referred to in their books I listened to. And so I would be like, if a Navy SEAL, if they can overcome that, I can surely overcome my fears and insecurities that I have in this area. And so for me, that kind of comparison was good.
Mhm.
I think there's a difference between being inspired and letting that comparison shut you down. So I love Instagram, and I love that right now, and that there's so much accessible art to look at in Browse. There's such amazing artists out there, and
Mhm.
it really needs to inspire me instead of making me feel like I'm not adequate or
Yes.
I can't get there. But the truth is, there is a gap between when I start this journey and and reaching that inspiration level,
Mhm.
and what I do in between. And that's kind of been it's just not easy. So I do little things like listen to a lot of audiobooks that encourage me.
Didn't you,
And
like, take dance lessons or something too?
okay,
I
so
remember you telling me something about dance lessons.
okay, so I'm not a dancer at all, still to this day, but to overcome how uncomfortable I felt shaping people's brows and tattooing, I was so uncomfortable. So what was more uncomfortable was dancing. So dancing with strange men, taking dance lessons when I don't feel that I know how to
I
dance.
love
So
it.
for a whole year, I took a private dance lesson and made myself go to group classes where I had to dance with strangers, so that me doing a brow was not the most uncomfortable thing I was doing.
No, not compared to
And I
dancing with
am
a
not a good
stranger.
dancer to this day, but it got me through that time. What do I need right now? That's what I would say. What do I need right now? Whether it's another training, whether it's, make myself feel uncomfortable in other areas, like dancing, whatever, and that's how I got the idea to do the pictures of my first 100 brows.
Oh my gosh. Did you bring
I
that?
did. I did.
Can you show us what you
Okay.
did?
So I don't know how I decided to do this, but I think it was just to inspire myself to keep going. I
Mhm.
wasn't going to reach the Instagram famous level of that art, but what could I do right now just to encourage myself to keep going in my pursuit of brows? So I thought, well, I'm going to do 100 brows, and then I wouldn't let myself get talked out of it. Like I couldn't talk about quitting until I did 100
I
brows.
still remember that conversation. And I was like, once you hit 100 brows, we're going live.
Yeah.
We're going to do a live. We're going to do an interview. We did try to do a live,
Yeah.
but crazy tech issues. So that's why we're doing this interview today. But I still remember that day and that conversation. And I was like, once you get to 100 brows, we're going to
Yeah.
celebrate.
I thought I would have a better perspective 100 in than just feeling like I failed each time and calling you hysterical. I thought, how can I give myself a little more space in between? So 100 brows was my personal challenge. And yeah, I bought this little pink camera.
That is
And
so cute. Is that a
so,
Polaroid?
yeah, a little like a mini Polaroid. And so every person that I did their brows, I would take a picture of them and put it in here.
Oh my gosh, let
And
me see that.
just to keep track.
Look at this, you
Um,
guys.
Something to
This is
celebrate.
amazing. 100 brows. I mean, that makes me want to cry. That's just like so inspiring. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you did everything you can, from taking dance lessons to, listening to audiobooks to better yourself, to just documenting your journey.
Mhm.
I feel like, you're one of those people who it's like, I'm going to do everything it takes because I'm so scared. I'm so scared of this, but I'm not going to let it get me down. And
Mhm.
I've got such a big why to keep going. And I think that's so powerful, and that's just so inspiring to me, because sometimes there's things that I want to do, and I have those hard moments and I just want to throw in the towel. I just want to give up. But hearing your story and kind of listening to just everything that you've done to overcome that is just incredible.
Thank
Like
you.
that is so amazing, and you should be so proud, Christy.
Thank you.
You
I feel
should be
like
so
you were
proud.
probably the one I harassed the most, you and Chandler.
We
Yeah,
love
I
being
know it.
harassed though, because
Yeah.
we always tell our students, like, we are here to give you the support, like
Mhm.
in class, after class, throughout your entire journey. And we have some students who, till this day, whether it's like, 2 years or 5 years or however long, it's like they need our help. We're there.
Mhm.
And I love that you're one of those students
Mhm.
who, you weren't scared to bother us. You weren't
Yeah.
scared to
I
email
was
us,
desperate.
call us and say, "Oh my gosh, like I need help." And we love supporting our students.
Mhm.
And sometimes we almost wish that more students reached out to us, because sometimes
Yeah.
they'll just quit, not do anything, we never hear from them again.
Mhm.
um and that's not what we want. We love supporting the students, and we want you to ask us those questions. So thank you for doing that, because I feel like, if we didn't get that opportunity, then maybe you would have quit, or
Mhm.
maybe you would have had those harder moments that you had to figure out yourself to get through. But now you have me, or
Mhm.
you have, if you make friends in the industry. I always say it's so important to have friends in the industry,
Right.
because you can call on your friends, you can call on your trainer, your mentors.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's so important. And thank you for the opportunity to allow me to do that for you, because
No. I feel
that's
like
what.
you're such a good mentor and still are to this day. I still, reach out if I have a question about pigment. And I think that's so valuable when you're on a journey to master something, is having a good
Yes.
mentor and someone who'll give honest feedback, and
Even if it's harsh.
even if it's harsh, because at the end of the day, I want to change
Mhm.
something, even though I may be on an emotional journey as well. I'm on a technical journey and I want to improve my skills. And I feel like you are always like so ace about that. Like, change this, this will come. And you're really good about focusing on how I can change it. And I appreciate that. I think that's like one of the most valuable things in a mentor. As well as you always had consistently said, just keep going. You could do it. I mean, I had to kind of figure it out you wouldn't care if I quit or not. I cared. And I feel like there is a lot of artists out there who do have the artistic ability.
Mhm.
If we could just get past the that point and where it hasn't clicked yet.
Yep.
And I feel like for me, um, it's it's starting to really click, and now
Mhm.
I can see all the hard work. I mean, you say to practice, so I have practiced. I practiced consistently all of these years, no matter what I was doing. I never stopped practicing. I mean, I would throw the fit and then practice. So even if I had time off of real skin,
Mhm.
I would always joke with Leanne that I'm a really good artist on the latex, because my latex art is fierce, and I want that to
It's
be
like
on the person.
yeah,
Yeah. And
you've
that's where
got to
the
get on
100.
real skin.
Yeah. So I really felt like as a mentor, that is one thing that you were so consistent on, is helping me if I didn't know what pigment. I remember you telling me, you pick the pigment and I'll tell you if it's good.
Yep.
So each
I'm
stage
like,
you're
I'm
like,
not gonna just give you the answer
yeah.
every single time. I'm like, you tell me, and then
Right.
I'll give you the feedback, because
Right.
that's really the way you're going to learn.
Right.
It's like if you had somebody just like giving you the answers every time you had a question, you're not really thinking for yourself.
Right.
So I always want my students to like figure it out first. Like, what would you do? You gotta learn to problem solve, and then your mentors are there,
Yeah.
to say, yes, that's what you should do. And then
Right.
next time you come across the same situation, you'll know what to do.
And I think that that is something you don't know you need that next level,
Hmm.
right? Like as a mentor, you're like, I've told her enough times, now she can, but I'm still thinking, I just want to make it right for the client.
Hmm.
So we don't know when we're ready for the next step, but it's so, and I was like, you're right. So then if I text you, I make sure I come up with the formula, and I've got pigment dripping down my walls, pages of it, looking at different combinations, because
I
I thought
love
I
it.
should be able to answer this question. So I know how these floor pigments mix and mix and mix. Um, and then wanting to see that on the client, I'll take pictures. And even if you send me back something, I'll screenshot it and put it in a folder,
Mhm.
and starting to get in that driver's seat. But yeah, you definitely have pushed me in the right direction for that, like taking responsibility.
That's great. And that's
Yeah.
the best way to learn is really to try to figure it out yourself first and
Mhm.
then getting the answers or the help after. Really quick, like if, I know we probably have some new people in the industry watching. If you had one piece of advice for them, what would it be?
Uh, for sure, go for it. Get on the road of mastery. If you want to do permanent makeup, get on the road and then nurture yourself along with a good mindset. I had to overcome a lot of negative mindset. Sorry. And so I think that, like, we do have to learn to encourage ourselves, but there's so much material out there.
Mhm.
There's so many great books on mastering and stuff, just to help change your mind on the road, because really you can do it. You can learn a skill. You can, there's so much, great mentorship and education if you just give yourself the time. I
Mhm.
felt a lot of pressure. I felt in a hurry. I felt, I had to do it fast and quick. And the road
Mhm.
to mastery is not fast
No.
and it's not quick. And you just get on it and keep staying consistently on it. So, my advice would be yes, absolutely get on the road, and then make sure that you're encouraging yourself with the right mindset.
That is such great advice because I do see again, there's a lot of, people who are new who are comparing themselves to all the artists on Instagram.
Mhm.
And it's so important for it's great to get that inspiration like wow their work is beautiful.
Mhm.
I inspire to be like similar to that one day
Mhm.
or to better myself, but at the same time just know that you need to really slow down, take it one step at a time, um, and not be so hard on yourself. I
Mhm.
think, we kind of beat ourselves up if we can't
Absolutely.
get something or we can't do something the way we want. And we just end up giving up too fast or
Mhm.
just, being too so frustrated and we stress ourselves out. Like I always say, have fun. Like
Right.
give yourself little small challenges
Mhm.
and each day just work to better yourself every day. And, your journey is your journey
Mhm.
and let everybody else have their own journey and don't be so like in your head about everything and don't compare yourself. So
I mean, I think
so
I definitely was
important.
all of those things that you just said. I was all of those things. Um, but I would say that's the reason why you should do it, is because it's really a chance to
Yeah.
heal your mindset and get on the journey, start the business, do it, because you can't take those with you. If you know for sure you're not getting off that path, you cannot be mean to yourself. You cannot be impatient. You cannot compare yourself.
Yep.
And I think it's good. Like, when I first met you, I was so inspired and your work was inspiring, and I wanted to do everything just the way you did it. I have the online course. I would watch you. I would study it. I would, I've trained with you a few times now, and I wanted to do it just like you. I did not understand that I was becoming an artist that I'm supposed to be, and that you
Mhm.
are inspiring, but I may have to do it a little bit different. But
Yep.
because I couldn't do it the same as you, I felt like I wasn't an artist at all. So it was that real fixed mindset.
Mhm.
I would say if you struggle with any of those things, absolutely more reason to do it, because you will get healed.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And, I always say like every artist is different, no matter how many courses I've taken, because there's so many artists out there that inspire me and I love their work. And no matter how hard I tried at the beginning too, my work would never look like theirs. So, as an artist, we're all going to be a little bit different. And for us to really all embrace that, like
Mhm.
it's such a beautiful thing that we are all unique and different, and our artistry is going to be different. So, just
Mhm.
allow yourself to really grow every day as an artist and to just be your own artist and not to
Mhm.
be like anybody else.
Yeah, I think it's like a maturity
Yeah.
thing. The thing I love right now at this time in permanent makeup is that there are so many wonderful artists and they are so nice and so giving of their time,
Yes.
like you are, so giving of their talent, so giving of the encouragement, so giving of pointers. And the information is so freely out there.
Yes.
And I just think that's amazing and that's inspiring because the culture is very generous,
Yes.
and I love that.
And it has grown so much. I mean, since I've been in the industry, I still remember those times when there were barely any artists who were training. Like a lot of artists were not training other artists. So it was really
Mhm.
hard to get started in the industry. Now there are so many talented artists, and so many, like you said, are there to really teach and give all the information that they've gathered all these years. and
Mhm.
and it's amazing to see, and it really is such a beautiful thing in the industry and how we're transitioning
Yeah, I feel like the
to that.
culture is beautiful and
It
so
is.
encouraging, and every artist I've ever come in contact with wants you to win.
Hmm.
And I love that. I think that's like another beautiful thing about women. I know we hear negative things, but that is not
And
my
there always will
experience.
be a little bit of that. You
Yeah.
just try to stay away from it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't trade with those people. But
Yeah.
I would say
The
I have found the
majority.
culture to be so encouraging and
Yeah,
enthusiastic, and it really gives you a lot of space to become an artist.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's not like a greedy, I've got this, I don't want you to have it. It's exactly the opposite. I
Yeah.
have this and I want to give it to you. You can do it.
Yep.
And I would say like that is my testimony of the years that I've been, training with you and your friend, is that every single time it's no, don't believe that about yourself. You can do it. And here's how. Change that. Do this, do that, or whatever. Or I'm
Yeah.
here, or here's online, or here's that. You even started like an Instagram subscription one, which first one to sign up because it's so, you're so generous with your artistic ability. And I think that people don't really value that, how the culture of permanent makeup is so giving,
Yep.
you
I
know.
always feel like, as a trainer, it's so important to give freely, to just really love what you do. Like I love teaching. I'm passionate
Mhm.
about watching my students transform. I've been able to see some students go from, being single moms to now not being able to take care of themselves and their family to now building these massive businesses that, they at the beginning would have never dreamt of. Just like
Mhm.
myself, I never dreamt of having the business that I have today. And just having that opportunity to, you know, go through that journey and to be where I'm at, like it's so beautiful. And for me to not share that with anyone would
Mhm.
be terrible. So it really is something I love, I'm passionate about, and I hope to continue to do it for a very, very long time. And with that being said, where do you go from here, Christy?
Well, I'm really excited about this year in Browse, and I
Hmm.
have my own personal goals. And where that, for me, it's really about the art and
Hmm.
being an artist and becoming the artist that I want to be. So it's just pushing myself to be, to really master the brow. That's really where my passion is, my number one thing. And then what to do next, I'm not sure. I'll let you know next year when I get there.
I know that you're doing you still have your lash clients. You still are doing brows.
Yeah.
You're kind of splitting that, right?
Mhm. After COVID, I was primarily a lash artist, and then I used that opportunity to reduce my lash load. But I love the culture of lashes, and I still love doing lashes, and I
Mhm,
love that I mastered that, and I don't want to give that up.
mhm.
But I think I just keep it at a part time, and then brows are gonna my full time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for just being here. Thank you for allowing us to hear your beautiful and amazing story and your journey to your 100 brows. I'm so extremely proud of you.
Thank you. We
I'm
love
like,
each other.
I'm so proud of you and just being able to watch you grow, like just personally and as a businesswoman. It's it's
You make me
amazing.
cry. Thank you.
And it's inspiring, and I'm so happy that, you are here to just really share your story and your experience with us. So thank you. I love
Oh,
you.
thank you for having me.
And with that being said, if Christy's story resonates with any of you, we would love to hear your questions and comments down below. And Christy, where can they find you?
Instagram on Christi Grace Beauty.
Awesome. Thank you again for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.